What's up guys, my name is Gabe and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. It is a Wednesday, August 21st edition of the Trojan Update. Officially 1 year since the launch of the Trojan Blade. Very cool, crazy that it's already been an entire year. Truly grateful for all your guys' support and cannot wait to see what we get up to this year. Don't want to waste any more of your guys' time though. A lot to get to. So if you are enjoying the videos, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, make sure to check out the Trojan Blade Patreon that I do have linked down in the description. Thanks so much, and let's get into the news. All right, first things first, just like we all expected, Lincoln Riley has named Miller Moss as starting quarterback for the 2024 season. This is what was going to happen all along. I've been telling you guys the entire offseason, while it was a quarterback battle in principle, Miller Moss having all the advantages he had, having the team buy into him the way they did, him going to media day, he was always going to be the starting quarterback. Very excited for him, very excited for what this means for our offense. I do think we're going to see a return to the 2017 Oklahoma Baker Mayfield-led style offense from Lincoln Riley. A lot more production from tight ends, a more even balance in the run-pass split, getting the ball out quick and on time, and overall, while not producing as many explosive plays, I do think we're going to be very, very efficient. So again, very happy for Miller, and very happy that this quote-unquote quarterback battle is now settled. Speaking of quarterbacks, we head up to Boise, where former USC quarterback Malachi Nelson has lost a battle to sophomore Maddox Matson. Yes, you heard that right. The pudgy kid on your screen right now beat out Malachi Nelson for the starting QB job up in Boise. Absolutely crazy. There were a bunch of people telling us that when Malachi Nelson left the program that USC was cooked, and Lincoln Riley has lost his touch when it comes to the quarterback position. There's a lot of egg on the face of those people today. And while I don't wish anything bad on Malachi Nelson, what I will say is never ever doubt Lincoln Riley when it comes to the quarterback position. He is the best evaluator of talent at that spot in the country for me. So yeah, very tough look for Malachi. We'll see if he takes over the starting spot at any point this year. Next up, we have some staff news with some official title changes. Taylor Mays has gone from an analyst to an assistant defensive backs coach. Awesome for him to have that role. I do see him becoming a defensive coordinator sometime in the future. Obviously, great first step there. Zach Crabtree's gone from a GA to an assistant O-line coach. And the big one, USC has a special teams coordinator. Ryan Doherty has officially been promoted from an analyst to the coordinator. Is anything going to change in his day-to-day role? Probably not. Are special teams going to be better this year? I sure hope so, because they were dreadful the last 2 years. When you're playing a tougher schedule like we are, the margins get razor thin, and we can't afford to be having these big blunders on special teams. So congrats to Ryan, and hope we get much better in that spot this year. All right, next up, we got news of when the depth chart will be out. It will be Wednesday, August 28th in the evening. That seems very, very late for a release of the first depth chart. Normally, you'd think we'd be getting that 2 weeks before we kick. But yeah, we do have to wait until then to figure out who's going to be starting. Next up, we have some interesting takeaways from Bruce Feldman's podcast called The Audible. There's 3 things listed from what he's heard about USC's defense. The first one being Anthony Lucas is starting to come on. He's been very disruptive. Second is that Easton Mascarenas Arnold has been as advertised. And the last one, which for me is by far the most interesting, it's that Jaylin Smith has probably been the best cornerback. So looking at Jaylin Smith, for me, he's been USC's best secondary player over the last 2 years. I know that's not saying a ton, but he's been by far our best tackler. Very consistent week in, week out. Not at all put in a position to succeed. So the fact that he was making plays in spite of that is very inspiring. But yeah, I had heard that they've been playing him at every single spot in the secondary, but he's really taken a hold of that cornerback spot. So I would look for him to be one of the 2 starters playing corner. Now, whether the other corners to Carlos Nicholson, Jacoby Covington, there's a ton of good options at that spot. And the fact that Jaylin has come in and grabbed one of those spots to the point where it sounds like he's the best corner at camp, that's fantastic news for USC. We have so many safeties that I want to see out on the field. Having Jaylin at corner frees up another spot for one of those guys to get some big time playing time, whether it's at nickel or one of the safety spots. A secondary of DeCarlos Nicholson and Jaylin Smith at corner, Greedy Vance at nickel, and Kamari Ramsey and N'Keal Arnold as the 2 safeties. For me, that's one of the best secondaries in the entire country. Cannot wait to see them out in the field. Speaking of those safeties, we do have some somewhat unfortunate news. As you see here, USC head coach Lincoln Riley said safety Zion Branch had to have a minor procedure on his finger, quote, very minor, and that he's not expected to be out for a long period of time. Every time Zion Branch seems to be getting some momentum going, it seems like a big injury just has to set him back. Now, while Lincoln is calling this very minor, I don't believe a word he says when it comes to injury timelines. Not for a second. So who knows what's actually going on. Really hope that what he's saying is true and that it is very minor and he's back in time for the LSU game. Again, that remains to be seen. Unfortunate news any way you look at it. And last up for today, I do want to play a clip from Joel Klatt when he was on the Herd with Colin Cowherd on FS1. This is a fantastic clip, and Joel is someone that last year in the preseason I thought was overly negative about USC, but as it turns out, pretty much everything he said turned out to be true. Everything from the defense to the offensive line not being as good. So Joel's someone that I have a lot of respect for, and that I think I've been too harsh on in the past. So yeah, have a listen.
I'm bullish on USC this year. I'm very bullish. Their defense, everyone can roll their eyes on their defense being better. Their defense is going to be better. All you have to do is line up properly, and their defense. I'm not joking. Like I know that sounds bad, but like the schematics were so bad last year in terms of gap control. In football. I mean, in some respects, yes. I think that's probably accurate. Their defense is going to be better, and then this notion that their offense will take a step back is false. It's false. And the record bears that out. Since 2017, when Lincoln Riley became a head coach at Oklahoma, their offense in terms of yards per play, and I think yards per play is the best metric we have for really your efficiency as an offense. How good are you as an offense?
That's what NFL bettors use. That's a big stat.
Yards per play. When you look at that stat, Lincoln Riley's offenses since 17 have been first, 11th, 3rd, 6th. Like, they're not going anywhere. It hasn't mattered what quarterback he has had. And in fact, whatever quarterback he has, as long as that quarterback stays within the system, is generally a Heisman Trophy candidate. So their offense should be just fine. If they beat LSU, this is the big one. If they beat LSU in week 1, then they have a legitimate chance to play Notre Dame for the right to go to the college football playoff.
So yeah, I thought that was fantastic. So many good points there. The fact that the point about our defense just being able to line up and it'll make us better is true is very sad and disturbing. You can't help but wonder what would have happened these last 2 years if Alex Grinch wasn't our defensive coordinator. Look at all that we accomplished in 2022. Imagine if we had Coach Lynn then. Hard to think about. But yeah, guys, that is all the news that I have for you today. We are getting closer and closer to kickoff against LSU Sunday in Las Vegas. I am going to have post-game coverage for you here on the channel, whether that's a live show or just a normal recorded episode. I still don't know where my studio is going to be at that point. There's a certain quality that I want my live show product to be at, and if I can't get it there by that time, I'm not going to put it out on the channel. But regardless, I will have post-game coverage for you there. So excited to get this season rolling. If you guys did happen to enjoy this episode, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for all the support. You're all awesome. And as always, take care and fight on.